Alright, Michimotsu doing my 6th Semantic Rant, and I found it especially ironic that I found a double entendre here, or maybe just a hidden meaning, a double entendre, but mostly just a numerological meaning, with 6, 666 being the number of the beast, and the Semantic Rant word for the day being satanic. Now this word is probably one of the more loaded words that you tend to hear a lot of times. It's very much oriented to one definition. It's hardly you hardly see anybody that sees the nuance, and there is a nuance, albeit it tends to go just two ways. The first one would be the more negative association that it implies, sacrificing babies and just blood orgies and all the general kind of quote unquote sickening things, or very, very deviant things that are done in these satanic rituals and such, which, from what I've heard, they're actually somewhat suspect in the claims, because, people can exaggerate things or fabricate things in order to make someone seem like they're completely terrible and that they've, slaughtered people, put blood on altar, have these sex orgies to do whatever they do. I haven't actually heard what the actual purpose of these the blood orgies and blood sacrifices and all these rituals that involve utilizing lifeblood and that sort of stuff. And there is a little bit more to this, mostly because of the general negative association with Satan. But that'll probably comprise the other half of this rant. About talking about Satan and what the different ways of looking at Satan are. At least 3 of them. But here's the second meaning, which is more particular to making a nuance of it. The first one was kind of oriented towards what you could call theistic Satanism, but then again, it's debatable as to whether a theistic Satanist would actually slit their wrists or just cut themselves and have blood on an altar and stuff. The other satanic is implied more to LaVeyan Satanism, or started by a guy, Anton LaVey. A lot of people have probably heard of him. He started what you could call a somewhat atheistic system, a system that doesn't involve any supernatural reality, but more utilizing Satan as an ideal to work towards, or as an ideal and a virtue to utilize within the religious practice. That's the ultimate concern there, that you should seek to become as satanic as possible, because in the LaVeyan Satanist worldview, you have a desire to satisfy your ego. Not just satisfy your ego, it could be argued that you're trying to satisfy your rational self-interest. But from Anton LaVey's point of view, it was more so kind of almost a Nietzschean influence, that you're trying to rise above the more general crowd, the more general accepted things, and you're trying to assert your own kind of individual meaning in life, which of course could be construed very badly, and I can't blame people who would do that. But taking it to excess, of course, is going to lead to problems. But even LaVeyan Satanism puts in certain restrictions. As I recall, like, if you're going to assert yourself in society, you can't just go around killing people, particularly not children or animals, because to a Satanist, they logically, neither of them are under the suspect of being willfully ignorant and willfully stupid and willfully submitting, because animals and children, they argue, are more more easily molded. They're more able to be controlled by behavioristic principles, as opposed to more mature people within, like, the adolescent and the adult level. But I don't know if we need to get into a LaVeyan Satanist's particular limitations on who they can kill or hurt, but I would recommend simply looking up the term the 9 satanic sins and the 9 satanic virtues, I believe, or the 9 satanic rules. And then there's like 11 satanic rules. I mean, those two numbers, 9 and 11, have particular associations, so I would recommend looking up those. But basically, this other kind of Satanism is closer to kind of a rational self-interest and an egoism, as opposed to it's hard to say that the other version and definition of satanic implies egotism, it really almost implies hedonism, you could say, but that's a very kind of purposely made perception of it to say that, you know, they're completely bad. In the case of LaVeyan Satanists, they're not intentionally being bad for the sake of being bad. They're being bad because, and they're being, you know, nonconformist because that's how things change. As I recall, that's one of the ideals, that you're not supposed to just willfully go along with whatever a tradition says. You're supposed to be able to see that there are weaknesses in it, that you can utilize it, but you're not supposed to submit to it. But I could go on and on about this, but to go into Satan really, really quick would be the distinction between a Jewish perspective and a Christian perspective, but there are at least two Christian perspectives. One of them being that Satan is evil, but he is the evil principle. He is not an evil being that is against God, but he is simply an evil principle, which would suggest that humans are their own worst Satans, their own worst enemies. Now, the Jewish perspective, as shocking as this might be to some people, it suggests Satan as a servant of God. He serves as the accuser, the person who tempts, the angel who tempts people and tests their faith in order that the faith may be further improved. And there's the shocking part. Albeit a lot of Jews have eventually began to suggest that Satan was actually the enemy of God because of influence from other systems that began to understand good and evil as polar opposites, and not simply evil being a particular choice as much as good as a particular choice towards different ends. But anyways, I don't want to get this to be a very long semantic rant, but there you go. The word is satanic. Look maybe for a semantic rant in a couple of days, maybe a week. I'm not sure when I'll have free time. I only have about 30 minutes left to go to sleep now, but anyway, this is the end of the semantic rant. See you later.